Hey everybody, Ben Frederickson here alongside Jeff Gordon talking Cardinals baseball here on Inside Pitch at stltoday.com. Gordo, we're going to touch on a popular topic today, Adam Wainwright. We've spent a lot of time talking about Wainwright this season. We haven't talked about him here on Inside Pitch in a while, and it's let's not sugarcoat it. It's been absolutely brutal. We are questioning his decision to come back for his final season, his retirement season. It has been more and worse of what we saw in his final month skid last season. And a lot of folks are saying, man, it clearly would have been better if he would have ridden off into retirement with Yadier Molina and Albert Pujols. Here's my question today, Gordo. Are people going to view Adam Wainwright's final season differently? Are they going to take that and put that on his career? Is his career going to be viewed differently than it would have been because he came back this year and struggled so much? And there's no other way to put it. It's been bad. It's a 9 ERA almost. If you go by the fancier metrics, he's about half of a league average starting pitcher. And he wants to try to find a way to finish this strong. We don't know what's going to happen. We're actually recording this on the day he's pitching. It could be his last start for the Cardinals. It could be a good one, and he gets another one. But looking forward, this has been hard to watch. What do you think of how Adam Wainwright's legacy could be impacted by this?
Well, unless Adam goes into the woods after this, like Matt Morris just becomes invisible to St. Louis, and I don't think that's going to happen. But unless that happens, going forward, Adam's going to be a guy that has a presence. He's going to be a guy that you'll see, whether it's in a TV job, being a happy guy, reminding us what a good guy is. He'll be involved in charity. He'll be around the team in one fashion or another. I see a guy that's going to have an enduring presence with the franchise, in a good one and a happy one. As far as this year goes, I mean, so many guys had a bad year. His year's the worst, but the whole season was so bad that I think in time, people will look back at the whole thing as just a disaster. And I think that'll excuse some of what happened in terms of how fans feel about it, because it's just been a nightmare the whole campaign. But it'll leave a mark, but not a severe one. And I think going forward, this is a guy that's going to continue to be part of the Cardinal, the tradition, the feel-good vibe around the franchise, the love affair with the fans. I think all of that goes fine going forward once we start blocking out some of these games.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the 2023 season will be remembered as a disaster. Adam Wainwright has a page in that, but I don't think that page will come close to defining what he's done with the Cardinals. He's been a champion. He's been heroic in his community service toward the community and his involvement as a Cardinal legend. And I think that comes back over time. It doesn't even have to be years from now. It can be months from now when the Cardinals, if they don't have kind of a veteran presence next season, then all of a sudden people could be missing Adam Wainwright in what he brought to the younger pitchers. Not going to miss what he brought on the mound this season. But point being, look at Yadier Molina. Yadier Molina spent his final season for the Cardinals, some of it watching basketball in Puerto Rico. We weren't quite sure where Yadi was. By the time people were upset, understandably so. It was a strange retirement season for Yadi, as Albert Pujols did great things in his final year. And this year, when Wilson Contreras was being thrown under the bus by Cardinals pitchers, there were people saying, man, too bad Yadier Molina isn't back. So I don't think anyone today is sitting around going, man, Yadier Molina's rough season really impacted his legacy. I just don't see that happening. And I'll go horse, and I've argued this a million times. Once again, I will point out that Adam Wainwright wanting to come back as a 41-year-old pitcher, it's hard for me to hold that against him, because that's what these athletes do. They believe in themselves when few others don't. And if they didn't do that, they would have never been professional athletes in the first place. If the Cardinals were going to bring him back, and we all knew they would if he wanted to continue to pitch, I've got no problem with that. And they paid him a market average rate based off of what he did last season too. They weren't gonna give him no money to come pitch in the majors. They gave him the Charlie Morton contract, and he hasn't pitched nearly as well. That's the reality. They did nothing else, Gordo, to make kind of insurance in case Adam Wainwright did struggle, in case what we saw last September was the real Adam Wainwright now, and it's gotten worse than that. But they did nothing to add to the rotation. There should be somebody challenging Adam this season from the minors, from within the rotation to push him out. And unfortunately, they haven't had anybody in a spot to do that. And the last guy who could have done it was Zach Thompson. And all of a sudden, he's filling in for Steven Matz, who was hurt again. So now they can change it and they can go a bullpen route and they can do all kinds of different things. I'm not arguing they should keep sending him out there, although it doesn't really matter. The season's shot and they don't have anybody else. But they could have had somebody putting pressure on an underperforming starter if they had made the right offseason moves. So this stinks, Gordo. The season stinks. This stinks to watch Adam go through this. We don't know what's going to happen. But I will caution and suggest to folks that they don't go over the skis and suggest that a guy who's been a pretty awesome Cardinal for multiple decades is all of a sudden going to be remembered poorly because of how bad he struggled this year in a season where everybody's stunk.
Yeah, and he's got one last chance to do a solid to the franchise. To your point, they got to get to the end of the season in one piece. They have run out of pitchers. They need him to do them a solid, finish out, get to 200, eat up some innings, and make one more happy walk around the ballpark shaking hands. They need that. Not sure they're going to get it, though.
Yeah, there's a season where good things have rarely happened. This has been the one. Maybe Adam Wainwright can find some sort of way to stick the landing here. I'll be honest, I hope they can find a way to help him do it. But if he doesn't, I think Cardinal Nation will still be pretty fond of Adam Wainwright a year from now, hopefully when the season is going a little bit better. We'll see. Keep it locked at stltoday.com for how this is going to play out. Jeff Gordon and I will be back next week talking more Cardinals baseball here on Inside Pitch. For Gordo, I'm Ben. We'll talk to you next time.